Hello, everybody. My name is Jennifer Ramirez, and I am the founder and executive director of Rise. I wanted to do this video to tell everybody about Rise, what it stands for, what we do, and how it got started. I wanted to tell you the story behind it. So I started this organization because I am a single mother. I have been a single mother pretty much since pregnancy. As soon as I told him I was pregnant, he took off. And also, I am a sexual abuse survivor. I was abused by a very close family member at the age of 7, and I didn't realize that a lot of the choices that I made as a teenager and even as a young adult were actually part of my trauma. I made decisions, terrible decisions, might I add, in my life. I was just very traumatized, and I didn't realize that until I got into my 30s, believe it or not. I became a single mother at the age of 21, and and being a single mother has been the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, especially because I've had to do it by myself. I used to live in a really bad neighborhood, and I live in Chicago, so I've lived in a terrible neighborhood that was extremely gang-ridden. There was a gang war going on, trap house across the street from me, and I was very poor. I had my daughter in 2006, and in 2008, the recession hit, so it was really hard for me because I was just on one income, no child support. Gas was like $5 a gallon back then, so I literally had times in my life where I had to decide, like, am I getting to work this week or am I buying groceries? Like, that's how bad it was. Like, I used to live paycheck to paycheck, and there was times where I just didn't know what to do because I didn't have enough to make it. So I actually got credit cards. Luckily, credit cards saved me, but in the long run, they didn't. They ruined me because I got $25,000 in debt in credit cards, and it really hurt my pockets. And a lot of things that I did were not smart. However, and because of all those things, I was a negative person. I was mad at the world. I was mad that I had gone through the trauma when I was growing up. I was mad that, my kid's dad didn't want to be involved in our lives or help me in any which way, and it was very hard. And I was uneducated about a lot of things, including credit card, how they worked. I didn't know I was only paying interest, and that's why I couldn't get out of debt. And I was angry at the world, and I made constant bad decisions. And like I said, I didn't realize that that was a part of my trauma. So when I was living in that really bad neighborhood, that's actually what really changed things. Well, it was the start of when I started to change things, because it got so bad that I didn't want to leave my house, and I was scared to take my daughter for a walk in the stroller because I was scared that we would get shot or something bad would happen. So I was like, I don't want to live like this anymore. This is not how I want my daughter to be raised. This is not where I want my daughter to be raised. This is not how I want her to see, her mom struggling. And I don't want her to I didn't want to repeat that cycle. I wanted to break all the cycles that I had been in. But at that point in time, I didn't even realize that I was breaking cycles. So by the time I got to 30 years old, I was 100% debt free. It took me my entire 20s to get out of that debt. However, I did it, and it's the best thing I ever did. I also started going to school. I had gotten a new job when I was 26 years old, and I worked with a whole bunch of accountants. They all had their master's and bachelor's degrees. They were so smart, and there were no drama. All went to work, and everybody got along, and it was very, very life-changing to me to work with people who were C-level and just educated, and I wanted that, and it inspired me to go back to school. So I actually started out just taking an Excel course in community college because my then manager had suggested it, and I saw how I passed the class and it wasn't that hard, so I was like, oh, okay, let me stick with this. And then I got my associate's degree in 2017. And then also, I purchased my first condo when I was 25 years old, and my mortgage was so cheap because I had bought like in the recession times, so I had very cheap mortgage. I was paying less than $300 for my mortgage, which is absolutely unheard of, and that I had always paid at least $500 in rent at that time. This was a while ago. So because my mortgage was so cheap, I got to save all my money. And because I saved all my money, I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. I just knew that I wanted to do something with it one day. So I started saving. And then I decided to be a landlord. So I purchased another condo. And then I purchased a house, I want to say 2 years ago, I purchased a house on the south side. And I also started blogging. I also, I got into the real estate by, purchasing condos and houses and becoming a landlord. Then earlier this year in February, I sold the first condo that I had purchased, and I was able to quit my job in March, right before the coronavirus. I was able to quit my job, and now I'm pursuing my dreams. I quit because I wanted to pursue and rise full time. I'm finally graduating. My daughter was 7 years old when I started going back to college, and now I'm 34, and I'm finally finished my bachelor's. So I'm very, very proud of myself that I made all these changes in my life and that I followed through with everything that I said I was gonna do. And then on top of that, I created And Rise. I did it because of everything that I had gone through. And there was so many days where I felt hopeless, so many times where I felt alone as a single mother. And I know single mothers out there feel me when I say that. There's so many times where you feel alone, and it's heartbreaking and it's hard. And the thing is you don't want to bombard people with your problems, so you don't even tell people that you're struggling. I never did. I mean, I maybe told like a couple of close friends and maybe my sister, but I didn't tell my whole family that I needed help. I'm a very proud person. I'm very independent, so that's part of the other reason I probably didn't say anything. But yeah, and I know that there's a lot of women that struggle with asking for help. So I wanted to be that resource that they can go to when they do need it. And I want them to, when they see that And Rise sign, that like, oh, they're there to help, like, let me reach out to them. So the reason why I started And Rise was just to show women that there's more out there to life than what you're currently doing. And if you are struggling with sexual abuse or domestic abuse or anything, like, just, it can be anything that holds you back internally, emotionally, mentally, you can overcome those obstacles. And I am a huge advocate for therapy and counseling. That's what's helped me overcome a lot of things that I have faced in my past. And I always, and so let me tell you a little bit more about what And Rise does. Let me just start there, okay? So what I want to do is I want to help women, single mothers, get through college. If you're a single mother, I want to be able to give you tuition assistance, supplies assistance with childcare, so you can go to school and not have to worry who's gonna watch my kid, one, or two, how am I gonna pay somebody else to watch my kid. I had to drop out when my daughter was a baby because I didn't have enough money to pay another person to watch her. I already paid somebody to watch her while I was at work, and I couldn't afford to have somebody else watch her while I was at school too. So I had to drop out. Didn't have a choice. Like, I can't take her with me to class. I mean, the professors nowadays do, but back then that wasn't really a thing. So, and also I want to provide domestic and sexual abuse victims with therapy free of charge, because I believe in that, and I think that in order to be the best version of yourself, you have to overcome those personal adversities that hold you back internally, emotionally. So right now, though, we are currently doing fundraising for women that have been affected by COVID-19. So a lot of women in the service industry have lost their jobs. A lot of them are getting their hours severely cut or being furloughed. And I remember back in 2008 when I was, a young single mother, I got furloughed too. And that hurt so bad. I didn't know, and it wasn't that many days, but when you're on one income raising a kid, like in an expensive city that taxes you for everything, and in the middle of a freaking recession, like it was hard. It really was. And so when I got those furlough days, like, it hurt my pocket so bad, because that was a couple $100 that I counted on. So honestly, sometimes I look back and I don't even know how I got through, but I did. Things were rough, but that also motivated me. All that struggle, all the things I had gone through, it really motivated me to want so much better for me and my kid. I'm like, I don't want her to think that this struggle is normal. I don't want her to, like, get pregnant. I was not that young. I wasn't like a teen mom, but I was 20 when I got pregnant and 21 when I had her. So I feel like that's still fairly young. You're still figuring out who you are and what you want out of life when you're that age. So I just want to share my story with women who have been abused and who feel like you can't get through it or over it, or you feel like helpless and lost. And I want to show you that there is a way out. There's help out there. There's resources out there, and there's a community of badass women that support you, and that's what And Rise does. So what we do too, we do professional and personal development workshops. We do women empowerment events. I also collaborate and support women-owned businesses. I'm all about girl power. I'm all about supporting each other. I'm all about positivity and just helping one another to be the best versions that we can be. And even pre-COVID, I was preaching to the world that we need human interaction, and I was preaching that human interaction was being lost through technology. And Exhibit A, now that we're in COVID and we're in quarantine, it's being shown that we need human interaction. And this is what I've been saying the whole time. And I feel like even more than anything, women need it even more, because we always are like the ones that we're emotional beings. We need to vent about things that are even great or depressing. We just need to vent. And I feel like through sisterhood and community, we can do that and help each other. And I could have done And Rise as a for-profit organization. I've even gotten people that have asked me why, you can make tons of money. Yes, I'm aware I can. However, just my heart tells me to keep it as a nonprofit because it's the right thing to do. And what I ultimately want to do here is help women. And that is my passion, and that is my calling in life. And that's what I want to do. So that's why I kept it a nonprofit. And this organization means the world to me. And yeah, that's kind of the story behind it. There's a good story. And to explain a little bit more about the logo, this is the logo. The and means that there's still more to tell, that your story is not over, that there's more to your story. And then the rise means rising above any adversities, rising above anything negative that you have overcome in your life or come across in your life, and overcoming that and being the ultimate version of yourself that you can be. But this is what I tell everybody. I can help you. I'll be your biggest cheerleader. I can help you as much as I can, but change starts with you. First and foremost, you have to want it and you have to work for it. It doesn't just come because like you have a thought in your head, I want to change. You have to actually make the steps to do that. Like, look at me, all the things that I had gone through, I changed it willingly, and it wasn't easy. Going back to school, being a single mother was not easy. It was probably the most challenging thing because I was working full time, raising my kid by myself, had to, go home, cook dinner, clean up, do homework, put her to bed, take her a bath. It was a lot. But I did it. She's 13 now, and I'm finally graduating, and it's an amazing feeling. I'm glad I didn't give up, and that's what I want to be here to do, is to push women to just be that ultimate version of themselves and to overcome anything that might be holding you back, because there is a light on the other side of the tunnel. There is hope. You just have to want it, and you have to fight for it, and it's definitely attainable. So that's it. I'll stop here, but thank you for watching, and I hope it gives you a better idea of what And Rise does and our mission and what we stand for. So thank you guys for watching. Take care.